Would birth of a person marks the existence of a legal obligation? In order to resolve this kind of issue, you have to know first the nature of a legal obligation. Article 1156 of the Civil Code defines what is a legal obligation. It says, it is the juridical necessity to give, to do, or not to do. With such definition, we therefore know that with this juridical necessity the element of compulsion is present in legal obligation. In other words, the obligor can be compelled to perform his obligation, or failure of the obligor to perform the obligation will give rise to the right of the obligee to demand performance in the court of law. Unfortunately, at the time that a person is born and throughout his minority, he only possessed a juridical capacity. His existence is recognized and his rights as a minor is protected because of this juridical capacity, but he possessed no capacity to act, or his actions cannot yet produce legal effects. As general rule, he may be subject to laws, but his actions cannot be sanctioned by law. May legal obligation then arise against the said minor person? Article 1157 mentions the different sources of obligation, which are laws, contracts, quasi-contract, delicts, and quasi-delicts. These sources enumerated by are exclusive. In other words, no obligation would arise if not sourced by those enumerated under Article 1157. Of these 5 sources, the only possible source that would create an obligation against a minor person could only be law, since all other sources requires capacity to act before an obligation can arise, and as what we have mentioned, a minor possesses no capacity to act. How would then laws create an obligation against a minor? Considering that laws are applicable to every subject, it definitely applies also to any person regardless of age. Hence, any obligation created by a law definitely also applies to minors, but the only difference is that these obligations cannot yet be totally enforced, since a minor does have a capacity to act yet. Example, a law creating an obligation for reverence and respect towards the Philippine flag is definitely applicable to minors, but in case of non-performance, no sanction can be had against the minor since his action do not have any legal consequence yet. In sum, yes, an obligation may be created after the birth of a person, but juridical necessity will affect it until the person surpasses his minority.